The Qualified Person for Pharmacovigilance, or QPPV, is the single individual personally accountable for a marketing authorization holder's entire drug safety system. This mandate is codified under Regulation EU number 1235/2010 and the Good Pharmacovigilance Practices, Module I. These frameworks place extensive legal obligations directly on this specific role. Audits of the QPPV office frequently expose a severe operational paradox. A company can possess pristine, signed documentation and still operate a completely compromised safety infrastructure. Organizations routinely fail regulatory inspections, despite presenting thousands of pages of standard operating procedures and meticulously drawn organizational charts. Modern regulatory inspectors stress test the operational reality of safety documents to see how they perform under pressure. When we deconstruct these audit findings, three structural failures repeatedly surface: unverified availability, deficient authority, and continuity failure. If a regulator identifies a structurally weak QPPV function across any of these domains, they immediately conclude that the entire safety system lacks operational control. The regulatory mandate for availability is absolute. The QPPV must be contactable 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This requirement extends through evenings, weekends, and public holidays, without exception. Relying on standard business hours is a direct violation. Auditors test this by executing simulated safety crises, dialing dedicated after-hours contact numbers. Operational failure begins here. The call attempts to route to the QPPV, but gets trapped in an infinite auto-forwarding loop, eventually dropping into an unmonitored reception voicemail. The role of a backup QPPV requires verified operational readiness. A name on a document, by itself, is an automatic compliance failure. First, the deputy must possess formally documented authority to execute decisions in the primary QPPV's absence. Second, the organization must define precise activation triggers. The protocol must detail exactly under what circumstances the handover occurs and who is authorized to initiate it. Third, the backup requires tested, equivalent access to the pharmacovigilance system master file. If the deputy cannot retrieve the core safety data, their delegated authority is useless. If a safety crisis cannot reliably reach the accountable individual or their authorized proxy, the foundational tier of the pharmacovigilance system is broken. A QPPV's operational influence is measured by their reporting structure. Auditors examine both the administrative reporting line and the functional reporting line. The administrative line dictates the QPPV's position in the corporate hierarchy for standard human resources and payroll purposes. The functional reporting line defines the direct pathway required to immediately escalate critical safety issues to senior executives. Auditors frequently uncover non-compliant structures where the QPPV is buried deep within the organization. In this configuration, the QPPV cannot bypass commercial interests. They lack the functional authority to take safety concerns directly to the Chief Medical Officer or CEO. If the QPPV's official job description omits this specific executive escalation authority, the organization is cited for a formal governance failure. Authority also requires visibility. The QPPV must maintain unrestricted read and write access to the current pharmacovigilance system master file. Modern IT infrastructures often break this requirement. Standard document management systems apply generic, role-based permissions to safety personnel. These generic settings inadvertently lock the QPPV out. They restrict access to the underlying data references and deviation logs required for full system oversight. When the QPPV is a pharmacist or scientist rather than a physician, regulations require formalized medical support. This support must be contractually documented and immediately accessible, ensuring a qualified clinical pharmacologist or physician is available to evaluate complex benefit-risk data. Holding the title of QPPV without unrestricted data access and a direct line to executive leadership equates to accountability without actual operational control. Corporate transitions expose specific vulnerabilities. When a QPPV changes, regulations mandate strict notification timelines. For European competent authorities, the Article 57 database serves as the primary public record of QPPV contact details. Outdated database entries trigger immediate regulatory citations. Routing critical safety communications to a generic shared inbox is a verifiable operational failure. The single highest risk environment for these transition failures is during mergers and acquisitions. M&A transactions prioritize commercial and legal due diligence, frequently leaving pharmacovigilance system integration completely neglected. This leads to immediate handover failures. Newly acquired portfolios routinely lack formal QPPV designation. This creates a dangerous data vacuum, where incoming safety signals never reach the acquiring QPPV. The master file falls behind, excluding the acquired portfolio's safety history. Incoming QPPVs inherit open safety variations and unfulfilled regulatory commitments, often without a single documented briefing from their predecessors. Because of these blind spots, marketing authorization holders must execute targeted deep dive QPPV audits immediately following any significant corporate acquisition. Administrative negligence during these transitions strips the system of critical safety knowledge and directly exposes the organization to severe regulatory enforcement. An effective inspection moves past document review. It tests the operational physics of the safety system to confirm it functions exactly as designed under stress. This testing frequently exposes the delegation trap. Many organizations operate under the misconception that outsourcing pharmacovigilance tasks to external service providers removes internal liability. The legal reality is absolute. Delegating an operational task does not transfer or even dilute regulatory accountability. The QPPV remains personally liable for vendor failures, affiliate actions, and any systemic blind spots those third parties create. A compliant architecture repairs these fractures. It establishes verified external reporting pathways and direct functional lines to the executive suite. Bidirectional data access and fully integrated, continuously tested backup protocols are non-negotiable foundations of this compliance. The QPPV is the individual regulator's call when a system fails to protect patients. If that individual cannot demonstrate functional control during an audit, the safety system is inherently out of control.